Hi, my name's Adrian Gibbs, and I'm going to be talking about some assessment ideas for learning. Now, there are three main takeaways from the learning materials that I went over. First are the 5 key components of a comprehensive assessment. Then we have assessment for learning versus assessment of learning. And finally, we have the backwards design. The 5 keys to comprehensive assessment. These include goals and measures, formative assessments, summative assessments, performance assessments, and student ownership. Goals and measures. These should be clearly defined and measurable. Some examples would include publicly displayed expected outcomes that are explained and revisited throughout the lesson. Rubrics with user-friendly language such as almost, you got it, or outstanding, or even developing, proficient, or advanced. Then we have formative assessments. These are periodic check-ins to help keep track of what the students know and don't know. They're critical for steering students in the right direction at a pace that makes sense. It also gives students the opportunity to apply the feedback they've been given by their teacher. Some examples would include reflections, exit tickets, self-assessments, goal setting, and record keeping. Next, we have summative assessments. These should reflect what you want students to know and be able to do. They should not be limited to only multiple choice tests at the end of the unit. They should aim to share students' achievements to an audience beyond the classroom. This could be other classes, teachers, and even parents. Some examples would include essays, oral exams, and project-based assignments. Next, we have performance assessments. These require a blend of cognitive and non-cognitive skills, such as communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and/or problem solving. Some examples might include project-based learning assignments and presentations. Student ownership. Students should be given opportunities to take responsibilities for their own learning. Some examples might include self-assessments, peer assessments, and journals. Now we're on to assessing for learning versus assessment of learning. Okay? Now, assessment for learning tend to be more formative. They have student-involved assessments such as peer and self-assessments, journals, and logs. They tend to be more descriptive in terms of their feedback versus evaluative. Assessment of learning tend to be more summative. They don't involve students as much, and they tend to come in the form of tests and quizzes, which are graded. They're also meant to see how well students meet state standards. Then finally, they tend to be more evaluative versus descriptive in terms of their feedback. And now we're on to backwards design. To begin, you want to identify desired results. Only after specifying the desired results can we focus on the content, methods, activities, and tasks that will most likely achieve those results. Determine acceptable evidence. Students should be given a variety of assessments to show their level of understanding. Finally, plan learning experience and instruction. In order to effectively plan learning experiences, teachers should know the necessary knowledge and skills required to achieve those desired results, the activities that will arm students with the necessary knowledge and skills, the possible modifications students with varying abilities will need, and finally, the materials and resources required so every student can participate fully. Why these takeaways? I found these points beneficial because they far exceeded my own ideas and methods for assessment planning and implementation. Prior to learning this new information, I had a limited understanding of effective assessment purpose, design, and application. Having expanded my own knowledge and skills involved with effective assessment use, I'm confident that I can create learning experiences that will help my students learn, achieve, and succeed in my class. How will technology support these ideas? Technology can make the learning experiences more interesting, engaging, and fun. Information can be delivered in multiple formats, such as pictures, audio, and video. Students and teachers can communicate in ways that would be considered inconceivable in the past, such as chat rooms, direct messaging, and video calls. It can also allow for immediate feedback on assessments, which can promote adherence, expedite the assessment process, and allow for more frequent, meaningful assessments. Finally, it can give students the opportunity to share their work at times convenient to them, and not just during live class. What technology do I plan to use to help my students achieve these goals? Well, I use Canvas, Nearpod, Padlet, ClassClick, Kahoot, and Flipgrid.